Corporate needs you to find the differences between this picture and this picture. Intel has told us there are at least 7.
Okay, I already see one. Give me. Okay.
They're the same picture.
Play that sax. Give it to me. You better play that sax. Okay. Yeah. You better play that sax.
Oh, well, this isn't something you want to hear before a game releases. Actually, so far I haven't heard much of an argument for why I should have high hopes for this being a series I want to invest my time into. I know that may sound a little harsh, but this game is coming out in a few days, and I just cannot fathom why you'd be doing this, why you'd be saying these things. I'm getting ahead of myself, obviously, and I'm going to go into the video, but first, as I want to always kind of make clear, Hi, thank you for stopping by to watch this video. Thank you for stopping by to check out my channel. A like goes a long way. A comment is very much appreciated. If you enjoy what you're seeing, if you enjoy what I'm talking about, and you've just plain out enjoying me and my content, please hit me with a subscribe. Notification bell is right there next to it. All that is much appreciated and always welcome. Thank you so much. Alright, let's get back into it. So, from the thumbnail and title, you probably know we'll be talking about Avowed today, the most recent game created by Obsidian Entertainment. It's a first-person action fantasy RPG. It doesn't follow a traditional class system like other role-playing games, opting instead to use a 3-class tree system, leveling up skills and then getting those skill points and placing within trees. They follow the titles of Fighter, Ranger, and Wizard.
You mean like that
Game Skyrim.
No, not like
Skyrim.
Kevin, okay? It's way cooler than that.
See, this game was originally looked at with such high anticipation. Key word there, was. People are so excited to try this game out, but the enthusiasm has been dropping ever since of like the end of last year. Someone who got access to the game took a screenshot showing that there have been pronouns added to the character sheet.
Sorry, did you want to get immersed in our world? Yeah, well, guess what? Fucking pronouns!
This began to cause some red flags to go off amongst people who were now questioning the developers' reasonings for injecting this into their game, and whether or not it would affect more than just the character creation side of the game, i.e. story, quest lines, and interactions with other characters, much like the recent Veilguard, where it was blatantly pushed into a lot of the game's actual dialogue between yourself and other characters. The image of the pronouns began to be shared around all over X, even hitting the big cheese's eyes himself, Elon Musk, who retweeted the post himself and even saying, having pronouns in a fantasy video game is utterly unacceptable. This, however, set off a chain of events involving the Avowed art director Matt Hansen, who took it upon himself to respond to Elon's post. Now, being a part of this game's core staff, you'd want to make sure you handle the situation delicately, carefully. You mustn't ruffle any feathers. Remember, you represent your company, and you should put people's minds at ease. Don't think them that you're this crazy person who can't handle a situation.
I wanted so badly to make him mad with my game. I can't believe it actually happened. Just wait until you see the default, you sad little shit.
So it's fair to say, you all know how well this interaction did for him amongst the fans of Obsidian and the people who were worried about the game. It didn't stop there, however. Matt continued to post more on the subject, even though Elon himself never replied to any of them. Also, I just want to add this. I'm not much of a stickler for grammar, seeing how I can't read, write, or speak at all good. But fuck man, really? Almost all your posts have terrible grammar and misspelling. Either A, you were so tilted by Elon and others giving you pushback that your fingers were sprouting out making your phone tremble, or you're retarded. I'm gonna say the latter because a smarter man and a wiser man would have never posted this shit to begin with. Because after this, people started to rise a stink in the comments of Avowed's X account. And let's just say they weren't exactly too thrilled about the game getting this kind of attention. People eventually got blocked because of it. Now, I want to go on record and say this. Yes, I was getting warning signals from all this happening, but I was still willing to give the game, maybe undeserving, a fair shake. Matt ran away to Blue Sky because of the controversy surrounding him. And while pronouns can be completely cringe, the actual addition to them in the game could be at best in the same level of Starfield versus that of Vanguard, so I was willing to let that slide a bit. Then the month of February happened, entering the main issues I have with the game now, and why I fear that this game is either going to be mid-tier, much like its brother Outer Worlds, or is going to be a forgettable piece of shit. So to start us off, Avowed player races, there's only going to be two choices. You either get to be a human or an elf. That's it. Now this bit of news doesn't seem super new, but I missed it out when it was first announced. But that's not what annoys me. Now, so there were two reasons given by the actual game director as to why this was the case. The first reason that was given was because Avowed takes place within the same universe as a game Obsidian created a few years back called Pillars of Eternity. Due to there being a lore implications and connections of our characters being something called a godlike, which only humans or elves can become, I suppose. Unlike in Skyrim, where the Dragonborn is extremely rare, but can be born into any of the actual races in Tamriel. I don't know nothing about the game that it's connected to, and honestly I didn't even know this game existed until I was looking up information for this video. Again, like I don't know anything about the actual connection to this world or its universe, so it's hard for me to make an actual argument in favor of having multiple races. However, the second reason that was given due to why there's only two races you can choose from are because of size differences in the character models. They literally stated that it would be difficult because of the character's variation size. This would make it so this way hitboxes and tracking would be difficult for characters. Jesus Christ. I mean, I kinda get it, but at the same time, you even said that it's not an impossibility. You just chose not to do it in favor of creating, as you have said, a much more smooth, natural, and well-paced game. Yet, when asked further to elaborate, you said nothing more on the subject. But even with that, I could still accept it. I'd be like, okay, there could be an argument set for both sides as to why or why not you chose to do this. That's fine. But then the latest little debacle happened, and oh boy, did that fucking annoy me to no end.
Is a little jank kind of a good thing?
You gotta accept a little jank to do something fun and creative, I think.
Oh my god! Stop!
That's the Avowed director named Carrie Patel, who did an interview with the YouTube channel MinMax, and yes, she was being asked rapid-fired questions, one of which was if there was going to be jank in the game. Her answer didn't quite help quell my negative perception of this game thus far. This, of course, caused a few alarms to start going off in my head. But, to be fair, yet again, he asked the question, what does jank actually mean? Well, here in the definition we have, game mechanics of unconventional or flawed design or implementation, and the experience of such mechanics as to ruin or disrupt play, or break immersion, i.e. bugs and glitches. Going off of what I just read for the definition, we can then surmise a few different ways of how jank has been put into the game. One could be that the scope and design requirements overly exceeds the abilities of the developers, meaning that there's concepts for what they wanted for the game and their ambitions were just a bit too high. A great example of this is that Avowed originally was being pushed to have multiplayer embedded into the game and was actually putting a lot of assets toward that too, but eventually they decided to pivot away from it because of the actual amount of manpower they were putting into that one concept. That right there is also proof of another reason why jank could be put into the game: time constraints. There are multiple games in recent years that we've actually seen this becoming an issue. For instance, Cyberpunk 2027 is right there. We also had, of course, No Man's Sky that was developed a while back.
No Man's Sky, more like One Man's Lie.
Had a major amount of issues that the game couldn't actually hope to accomplish within the time frame given to them. And a game of my personal favorite of choosing because for this reason, Payday 3. One of the worst launches that ever hit this earth. Now, I've read several articles going over the comments made by the director about jank, and I don't know if these people are intentionally or unintentionally defending her in this action, because I've seen some people make the arguments that, oh, jank's not that bad. It's really funny when it happens and I play Skyrim or Fallout or any of those other quirky little games. Goat Simulator makes its jank a part of its game mechanics, so what's the big deal? I hate this line of thinking. Okay, yes, it's funny when I clip through the ward in Fallout. It's funny whenever I get ragdoll across the screen in Skyrim. It's funny when I see a mud crab fly by me out of nowhere. Where did it come from? Who knows? Who cares? It's janky, it's quirky. Starfield had jank in it too. Oh wait, what's this? The game was voted down? No one likes it? No one plays it anymore? Oh gee, that's crazy. But it has jank. It's memorable. It's so great. But it's boring and it's not. But you love Cyberpunk 2077. Like, the DLC was amazing, and wasn't that anime just great? Oh boy! Yes, now, because the team actually put time and effort into developing and fixing their game that came out like crap. People love the game now, but when it was first released, there were a ton of people online for both reviews and games journalists who spoke terribly about the game. And yes, Skyrim was loved when it was first released. Hell, people still love Skyrim. People still think fondly of Skyrim, and they probably talk about their little quirky, oh ha ha ha, did you see the way the giant smacked me into the air like 50,000 feet and I ragdolled back to the ground? That's so great. But if you actually took the time to pay attention, you'd see that Skyrim's popularity is waning. Over time, it's been souring amongst the actual gaming community. Many different videos talking about the actual horrendous style of storytelling from that game, the questing, the side characters, the poor combat. Skyrim is the perfect example of member berries being placed in video game form and tossed at you almost every year with a new edition. You can clearly see by this point I was almost done. But then came my final gripe with the game. And this one was a big one, because this can ultimately break the trust with the studio and the customer. And that's the price. Here we have Avowed, a game said to be releasing on February 18th. But wait, if you purchase the game in either the two premium editions, you'll receive it 5 days earlier, meaning you'll be able to play it on February 14th. But the digital premium cost $89.99. And then the only physical copy that you can purchase, which is the premium steelbook, cost $94.99. Nearly $100. But that's the best part. There is no physical CD. It's a fucking code you put in. So the only physical object you'll be receiving is a metal fucking game case.
That sure makes me want to buy the video game, right?
The standard digital edition is $69.99, the cheapest option. Unless you have Game Pass, then it's technically free. I hate everything. You know what, I think I've gotten my point across enough. You can kind of see why I'm upset with everything. You can kind of want to see why, like, the game I was kind of looking forward to. A game from a studio that honestly, genuinely loved Obsidian. I really did. Like, again, most of my fondest memories from the actual early days was playing games like Fallout New Vegas. Religiously. I'd make so many different characters from that. And then I'm reminded that the original creators, the original founders, the original people who worked on the game, the people who developed that game, the people who worked at Obsidian, they're no longer there. And what we're left with is these fucking chuckleheads. So, at the end of it, is it worth buying? And I gotta say no. Unless you have Game Pass, other than that, I'd say wait for a content creator that you both trust and like to kind of break down the pros and cons of the game for you. Allow reviews to slowly come out and just check them out. You know, if you want to stay spoiler free, stay spoiler free. But ultimately, let them kind of be helping you choose what you're going to go for. Either A, purchasing the game at full price, or waiting some time to hopefully get it at a cheaper option down the line. But, you know, if it goes the way of all the others, these modern games have been going, it'll probably be like $30 in like a few months. Who knows? Me, I have Game Pass, so I'll just try it out. I'll be as fair as I possibly can. I'm hoping the game proves me wrong. I don't want this game to be bad. I don't want video games in general to be bad. I generally want to continually experiencing new adventures, new storyline, new characters, enjoy the worlds these developers are creating for me to immerse myself with. I want to have an immersive, good experience with a video game. I don't want to look at a video game and say, oh my god, this was shit, why did I waste my time for it? No one wants that, alright? I might make a review on it or something. I haven't really decided. I got a couple of concepts in my head, but that's down the line, and right now all I can think about is bed. So for now, have a good morning, have a good day, have a good night, have a good evening. Enjoy your day, because probably when the time of this game's actual release, I'm gonna be fucking miserable.